morning, and thank you for joining the MicroWise Tips and Tricks. This monthly user group is designed to show you the latest and existing tips and tricks that people might be overlooking uh, and maybe learned a long time ago and don't remember anymore. In this particular meeting today, I'm going to be showing you actually brand new stuff that we never showed before. This meeting will be recorded and it will be made public. Okay, my name is Robert Gabriel. I'm the President and CEO of MicroWise Technology, and I will be leading this meeting today. Disclaimer, anything you learn in this meeting, you need to confirm yourself, and at no point MicroWise will be held responsible for any data damage or financial damage that can happen as a result of this meeting. The agenda today is we're going to talk about the end of year reports, how to clean up your account balance. This is a brand new feature in version 21. And then I'm going to compare that with the small balance write-off that we always had in previous versions. The cleanup is a much more powerful feature than what we ever had before. Then we're going to have a Q&A. You can ask any question. Doesn't have to be version 21. It could be for anything you want to learn about Medisoft or the industry. Okay, so we're going to get started. First, I'm going to move into the Medisoft. So end of year reports is depending from one practice to another. Some practices, they have more need than others, and some practices have less need than others. So it's important before you know what reports to run is what are you trying to measure. So based on your size of practice, your specialty, your physician personality, uh, uh, different ways of measuring things and different reports to measure different things might vary from one practice to another. I'm going to show you my favorite reports for end of year or beginning of year. So I'm going to start with analysis, and I'm going to go with practice analysis. So practice analysis, every administrator, every billing manager, every office manager should be able to do the practice analysis for whatever period of time. So I'm going to pretend that this for last year, 2016, you should know how frequently you're using a particular code and how frequently you're using a particular adjustment or payment code. So this practice analysis gives you a snapshot of the whole practice of how many times have you used. So I used 90791 for this practice here. I use it 27 times. This is totally fake practice. This is not real numbers. Okay, and it just gives you the summary here of total charges, total payment, total adjustment, how much cash co-payment you got, how much credit card co-payment you got, and this is just a snapshot to know what you did for the year. It's important to know if your trend is going up or down year after year. Uh, Depending how the year turned out to be, you want to know if you're doing better or you're doing worse. I always say what's not measured is not managed. So if you're measuring your trends, you know you're going up or you're going down. So that's my first report. The second report is, while here, I'm going to go to insurance analysis. So insurance analysis just kind of gives me how many claims do I do with each insurance company. It will tell you if it's primary or secondary. So if Aetna had a secondary, it will tell you here how many secondary. And this is a nice report to also do at the end of the year to know for the whole year how much you did. So that could be a benchmark for next year to see, if you're doing better or you're doing worse. Now, you don't have to wait for the end of the year. You can always measure this on a monthly basis, but I get a lot of report questions at the end of the year, so I picked the topic today about the end of year report. And it depends if you're a specialist. Of course, referring provider reports is very important. So this way you know who you should buy a gift basket and who should you take out to dinner. So this should give you who's the doctor is referring business your way. Then I'm going to move into aging report. So aging report is important, especially in today's meeting, because I'm going to show you a great new feature, very powerful in version 21. First, I'm going to go with patient aging. So patient aging, I think, in my opinion, I think it should have been renamed to AR, total AR, because patient aging just shows you everything outstanding for the practice. Doesn't matter if it's insurance or patient. So remember this number, because I'm going to do some cleanup and this number is going to change. So I have a total account receivable of $16,000, and that's totally for patient and insurance. Then I'm going to do an aging. I'm going to do a primary insurance aging, and that primary insurance aging is going to tell me how much I have outstanding with the insurance company. So the insurance company outstanding total of $12,500. So most likely the difference is $3,500 is for the patient. If I do report and I do aging and I do patient remainder aging. So patient remainder aging is in between. It's not the total and it's not the insurance. It's the balance forwarded to the patient, and that should be in between. Now it doesn't add up to $3,500. What does that mean is there's outstanding balance for secondary and tertiary insurance. Otherwise the math doesn't add up. So this is as far as those reports here. Then I'm going to move in additional reports. It's called the Medisoft reports. I really love focus on financial. So focus on financial, you should be doing this month by month, but I'm going to do this for prior year since the topic today is end of year report. So if I do flash report prior year, it's going to give me a snapshot for the whole year, and month by month is going to show me within that month each day how many patients I see, how much charges I get, how much insurance payment I got, how much patient payment adjustment withhold. And it will break it down month by month. So this is a really nice report because you need to measure this on a monthly basis as well to make sure, again, it's what's measured is managed. Okay. So now it's going to bring me to the next topic. The next topic is the insurance, the write-off. Now, we always had, so this is version 21. If you don't have version 21, which is I assume nobody has 21 because I think I'm the first installation for our customers. I didn't install it on anybody yet, but that's going to change very soon. So more of you are going to have version 21 installed. First, let's talk about the small balance write-off adjustment. So small balance write-off adjustment, we had that for almost 5 years now. And the small balance write-off adjustment is only patient balances. What does that mean? I can say, all right, if a patient balance is lower than $50 and it's older than 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you pick whatever number of months or years you want, you can write it off. Okay, so a lot of people, they inherited accounting mess from other billers, or they took it away from the billing company, or vice versa. If you're a billing company, you might took a mess from somebody else. So I always got this question all the time is, how do I clean? I don't want to go and write off each account one by one. I want to write off anything older than 3 years or anything older than 1 year. How would I do that? So I think this is the most powerful feature we ever had. It's so powerful that it's dangerous. So pay attention here. First, before you use this, I want you to do a backup. So I'm going to do file, I'm going to do backup. Now, when you're backing up, making sure you back up data, not backup root. Backup root backs up the registration. I don't really care about this. This is the data. So when you back up the data, yeah, you cannot do this when other people in the system. Okay, so you're gonna hit OK, and you're going to. I already did a backup before I started the meeting, so if you hit a start and if I put it in the same place and hit start, is going to back it up here. Okay, so my backup is complete. I'm doing a backup because I'm going to really destroy everything, and don't try this at home unless you really know what you're doing. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to write off anything. You remember the total account receivable was $16,000. I'm going to write off the utility, and I'm going to say I'm going to write off anything of a cutoff date of July 7/01, 2015. So anything older than a year and a half, I'm going to write it off. And this is if I want to write off certain type of patients, but I'm not gonna, I'm gonna leave this blank. That means give me everything. And if the balance exceeds, okay, so I'm gonna put a high number here because I want to write off any balance. So I'm gonna put a high number of 99999, okay? And so what happened if the patient had a credit? So the account was negative to start with, how much write-off you want to do. So when you write off a credit, it brings it back to zero balance. So if a patient has a negative $100 and you write it off, it will have a balance of zero. So again, I'm going to put a high number here because I want to do everything. Okay, so I'm writing off anything positive or anything negative. So now if it's a credit reverse, so if the patient has a credit balance, I want to write it off. What account do I want? Now I don't really, you can make an account for this. I'm just gonna use refund for now, which is really I'm not giving, I'm assuming that anything I write off as a negative balance, I'm writing a check and giving it back to the patient to turn their account balance to zero. Then when I'm writing here, adjustment is which adjustment do I want? And I have a lot of adjustment here. I was, for training purpose. So let's say I'm going to use the unable to collect. So now I'm going to click refresh. It's going to find me anything with those charges and it's gonna write it off. Now this is not enough. So I'm just gonna go back and I'm gonna say cut it off from 9:01:15. I'm gonna hit refresh and it didn't make a difference. I'm gonna change this to July 2000. I just want you to see more data getting rid of 2016. Okay, and see there's a lot more things are getting written off here, and it's showing you which each one is. You can print this report. Okay, it's going to show you all the balances that you're going to write off. And again, warning, this is a dangerous utility. I never thought we will have a utility like that, but that's great because a lot of people need this. So I have a $16,000 of account receivable. This is going to write off 14,000. So that's almost 99%, and it's going to do a credit reverse of $164. So if I okay this, okay, if I hit write off, in seconds, my whole account receivable for whatever period I choose got written off. Now let's put this to a test. Let's run the same account receivable that I did before, and voila, and my whole account receivable went down from 16,000 to almost 2,000. That's $14,000 of written off. And that is an amazing feature. A lot of people need this feature because things snuck up on you. Maybe you inherited a mess from a previous employee or a billing company or your billing company and you took an account from somebody else. This is a huge feature. This is a great time saver. I think this is the best upgrade feature we ever had in any version. A lot of people have been looking for this. This is really amazing. So I hope you guys like it, and I wanted to open the floor for any question regarding what I just showed you here before we move on to other things. So if you have a question, okay, so Ellen, okay, let me read the question. Can we adjust the write-off? Okay, no, you cannot adjust the write-off. You have to delete it. Okay, so if you want to reverse what I just did here, which is a very good question, either restore my backup, okay, and bring everything back and do it the right way the next time, or I can just go to one of the transaction. Let me just open a transaction here, and let's go to Amy here. So let's say this is what I just did today, all of those transactions. So if I go to here and hit okay, so this is my adjustment. So I adjusted for this particular visit. I adjusted $279. So all I have to do now If I hit delete here, that will reverse, that will delete it. Now, of course, you can do a reverse, but you have to do it manually here, one by one. But if there's one slip through and you want to do it manually, you got to do this. Okay. And that will reverse it. So hopefully this answers your questions. Very good question. I want you to understand the difference between this one and the small balance write-off that we always had. I think the small balance write-off was under activity, and it's right here, small balance write-off. So this utility here we had for about 5 years maybe, and this only wrote off if it's a patient responsibility. It didn't touch it if it was an insurance responsibility. It didn't touch it if it was not for the patient. It didn't touch it if it was a credit. So it only wrote off any balance. So I can say this was designed to say, okay, anything older than a year that's smaller than $10, write it off. Boom. It was a nice feature, but the what I just showed you is a lot more powerful because it will write it off if it's a credit, or if it's a balance. It will write it off if it's patient or insurance. It's extremely powerful feature. Be careful how to use it, because if you have a lot of people, they call me and say, why can I do the aging for, pick a range of days, and that was never accurate when you filter for a range of days. But by having a feature like that, I can go back and clean old account receivables. Huge feature. So that, I think that brings me to the full agenda of today's seminar. So please, if you have any question, doesn't have to be version 21. It could be for any other things. Now, version 20, next seminar, I will do all the new feature for version 21, but I haven't fully tested all the features yet. I got really excited about this feature, and I want to show it to all of you, especially coming at the end of the year, beginning of new year. This is a great tool for cleaning up an older transactions that you inherited over the years. So please, if you have any question, go ahead and ask. If not, that's going to conclude today's seminar. Okay, so Alan, you're raising your hand again. Okay, so the first question, I have the above question, capitated plan, we need it to adjust monthly. Okay, so the capitated plan that you need to adjust monthly, okay, let me show you that. So you remember when I was doing the write-off? Okay, so if I go to tools and I go to service and I do the write-off utility, you remember here I have a billing code? Okay, so for the capitated, if I'm doing those patients, so when you create those cases, if I make those patients to be a different type of billing code, so under account, under here, see this is billing code. So I can have a different billing code. So something is wrong with my data, it's not showing me. So you can create a new billing code here, maybe call it C for capitated. And when you write off, then you can say, write me off all the capitated within this month or last month, and that will do the trick. So that will give you what you want. Okay, let's see the next question. How do you show document info in transaction entry? The document info here, so let me explain what this is. I like to turn this on because I like to see each visit separate. So if I want to go to the visit from August 2013, I hit OK. The charges are up here and all the payment and adjustment here. It's nice. It groups it really nice together. So how do I turn this on? So you go to File, Program Option. Before you do this, make sure you get everybody together and show them, because that will freak out everybody. You're gonna get a calls and say we lost everything. Okay, so you go to Data Entry, you force Document Number on, and make sure that this they use serialized super bill is off. Otherwise, it means something different. The tracking of your serial number or the super bill serialized, that's a totally different feature. So if you had this off, most likely did not use this, and if this happened to be on, make sure you turn it off if you turn this on, unless you're serializing your super bill. So if you do that, so if you go back into your transaction entry, then each patient will have, for each case, it will detail. So if you do, this is a much faster way of data entry, because if you go in here and you're entering the charges for today, so if I do 99213, and let me just pick a new diagnosis. Okay, if this is what I'm doing, I hit save and move on with the next patient. So if this is what you're doing, and you go on with each one. But what happened if you wanted to go to previous visit? So if I go back to Amy, okay, and I want to go to an older visit, so you can just go here and say, all right, I want to go to the visit from August 30, 2016. Boom, it's here. If I want to go to the visit from February 11, 2013, boom, charges here, payment and adjustment here. That's the way you should be running your account receivable. It's a lot. You can make less mistake this way. This is the way to go. So hopefully that answers your questions. All right, if you have no questions. Now let me just, while if you think of a question, go ahead and I'll give you a chance. But let me show you how you're going to find this seminar in the future to watch it, or how to watch previous seminars. So if you go to microwise.com, and if you click on product Medisoft, then you have your training button. So go to training. Then all the way at the bottom of the page, I have Medisoft best practices. If you click on it, you're going to come to my channel here where I post all the previous seminars. So this is each seminar, and when you hover over it, it tells you what's the name of it. Over here is I can go to different pages. Each page has more seminars. So this is the library of how to watch the seminars. Okay. If you have no more question, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I want to thank you so much for your business. Thank you for being a MicroWise customer, and have a wonderful day.